Hey, welcome back, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majeski, your trusted weather source here, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype. Here on your Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. Now, before we get going, we first always like to say thank you and welcome aboard any new subscribers here on the channel. And if you're not yet a subscriber just yet, please help us out while we're trying to get to 10,000. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And if you appreciate the support, please leave me a comment down below and give me a thumbs up. It does help with the almighty YouTube algorithm. Well, we're going to first start off this report with the latest from the National Hurricane Center as we're looking at this area of disturbed weather. They're off the eastern seaboard for the days ahead. Looks like this is going to be a bit of a hybrid system, maybe a low pressure or maybe a weak depression, but I'm not expecting a whole lot out of this for right now. Let's go and take a look at the latest model data here. I got the latest European here kind of looping up here. So you see that moisture coming up here out of Florida and then kind of turning on out to sea. So something where it's basically going like this and then kind of curving back out. So you see the little bit of low here kind of taking place right through there and then kind of moving on out. Let me go ahead and slow this down for you here a little bit as I kind of track this down here a little bit. So again, looking at heading toward this upcoming Thursday or so, it's showing some sort of low pressure there. Yeah, you see it there showing up very nicely there by Friday morning. So we got some sort of hybrid low sitting in here. And again, this thing's moving on out to sea. It's going to enhance the rain across the southeast. That's for sure here in the next couple of days as the rain chances have gone up. And but it does appear to be a quick hit and run type system and shouldn't be a big deal. So looking at the satellite imagery again, you can see all the moisture here with the infrared imagery showing the higher cloud tops and thunderstorms here associated with this as this continues to move up like this. The rest of the tropics right now looking all quiet. And although the long-range GFS is still hinting at something in the Caribbean, I'm going to wait till it kind of gets closer before I really kind of worry about that. The other part of the story continues to be those wildfires up in Canada. And the latest update here shows this stuff's really getting bad. It's getting worse up here. These fires are really kind of spreading up here, covering more territory. Even seeing a bigger one here in southern portion of Canada breaking out. And as long as those fires continue, we're still going to have these waves or chances or opportunities for that smoke to make its way into the United States. Looking at the latest model run here, the high-resolution model here kind of showing the vertically integrated smoke model. As we were saying yesterday, the Northeast is getting in on the action, and we're still dealing with this residual fog kind of left over and kind of meandering here across the Southeast, but it is really high here just above the border, and we'll have to watch it closely with that northwesterly flow. Every time it reestablishes itself, it's going to bring more smoke into the United States. Now let's go and take a look at the latest satellite imagery here. Again, you can kind of see a little bit of that haze. I know we're here at the morning time here, but you still see those hazy skies even all the way down to the southeast. So it's still going to be a little bit a while. Now, the good news is we do have some rain coming up. That's going to be a little bit of a way to kind of give the atmosphere a bath and kind of wash things out. So we're going to get rid of some of the smoke here across the southeast, especially with some of that rain that's expected out there. See some healthy storm system here in the middle of the country. We are going to be looking at some active severe weather out here that we're going to track here for today, and I'll go ahead and show you the latest on that here in just a second. Looking at your surface map, again, very wet and rainy here in the middle of the country, below normal temperatures for sure because of all that wet weather out in here. Some heavy rains and some thunderstorms across Kansas. Some wet weather down here across Florida as well, but we're quiet up in the Northeast and the West Coast looking pretty quiet here for today as well to start our morning. Watches and warnings, obviously, with all that heavy rain here in the middle of the country. We do have that flash flood watches up here across Missouri, stretching back into North Texas, and even a little bit down here into South Florida. And heavy rains is going to be part of our story here for the next several days. Looking at some of that heavy rain there across portions of Kansas. You see it south of Topeka and into Austin. So we got some pretty good heavy rainfall kind of going in there right now. You're seeing that up here. A few thunderstorms too. Again, we'll be watching for some more active severe weather into this portion of the country here as we go in toward later this afternoon and into tonight. So let's go ahead and look at the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. We're going to break this down for you again. Look at your day one outlook. We do have that slight risk. They did jump into enhance yesterday. It'll be interesting to see if they do that again today. Again, this time of year, it's not uncommon to see that happen, especially with the model runs that come in. And you get these little surges. So typically, if you do see an update, it'll be upgraded to go up and not down. In this case, we may see it again today. But right now, you're looking at here from Illinois, stretching back in here toward Texas, looking at that slight risk for severe weather. Marginal goes all the way up into the Canadian border there and even down toward near Mexico. Now let's go break down the categorical breakdown here. Tornado risk running relatively low, so we're talking 2% here from Madison, stretching back down toward Fort Worth, Texas. So again, an isolated tornado 2, not out of the question. The wind threat, of course, will be the highest threat. That's where that slight risk is lining up there, running about 15%, stretching from southeastern portions of Iowa and portions of western Illinois, all the way back in toward Texas here for this afternoon and going into tonight. Hail threat also looking mostly down toward the south here from Texas all the way up into southern Kansas, but still running at 5% there, well into Wisconsin as well. Let's go take a look at your day 2 outlook here. Go to day 2. Again, you see the marginal risk here across portions of the Great Lakes, Michigan, back in toward Illinois, another little pocket back here across New Mexico, Texas, and Colorado. And the day 3 outlook surges back up into a slight risk here across Oklahoma, Texas, and into Kansas. So we'll have to watch that again as we head in toward your Thursday. So this will be for Thursday. And we have a marginal risk for severe weather here across portions of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, and into New York going to Thursday as well. Now, obviously, we've got to talk about this. Obviously, the big part of the story is going to be the heavy rain threat. We're going to see a couple places to kind of watch here. Obviously, the tropical influence here with some heavy rains down across South Florida. They can use that. They're still trying to fight drought conditions there. And here across the middle of the country, again, isolated pockets of some heavy rain and some localized flooding not out of the question. Thus, those flash flood watches we saw there. So let's go into your Wednesday, middle of the week. Again, the southeast portions of the Four Corners in the middle of the country. Looking at wet weather there. And this will continue into day 3, going into Thursday. Again, we get that uptick in activity where that severe weather is. Obviously, we're going to see an uptick in some heavy rains there as well, going into toward Thursday. How about Friday? Well, still kind of sitting there, and it's kind of stretching over here, stretching into the northeast a little bit, stretching all the way back toward the middle of the country. And also going into day 5, really not changing, just kind of moving a little bit toward the east. So we're not going to see big major storm systems. We're going to see these minor systems kind of trapped under the kind of a ridging area of high pressure. I think that's going to be kind of setting up in parts of the country here as we go deeper into the model run. I'm going to show you that here in just a second. So let's go talk about the models here. Let's go look at the short-term model. We're looking at the intermediate model, the NAM run right now. As you can kind of see that moisture across the southeast, kind of curving on up. So this is going to come up through Florida, through Georgia, and then kind of curve back out here. And where that low sets up is going to be critical to watch. Obviously, you got that severe weather watch here. You got a couple of rounds of thunderstorms there to watch going in toward today as well as for tomorrow. So we got a little bit of watching there with that activity there. I'll go ahead and stop this for you, kind of take you through this a little bit. I'll back this up here. Again, kind of going in toward the rest of today. Look at here about 6 o'clock. You got a couple lines of thunderstorms here across Missouri and across portions of Oklahoma as well. Obviously, this moisture from the south is going to be coming up here going in toward tomorrow, going in toward Wednesday. So it looks like what we thought was going to be dry to the southeast going to Wednesday. There's rain chances going to come up here going into Wednesday across Georgia and into the Carolinas. So turning a little bit wet there across the Florida Panhandle. And this low will kind of, again, eject up into the Carolinas, bringing this heavy rain. And then maybe we get a weak tropical system there form off the East Coast as this thing begins to move on and eject on out. Now, rainfall amounts very high over the next couple of days. Obviously, here across the middle of the country, you're looking at Missouri and Kansas, seeing some very, very heavy rain, up to 4 or 5 inches in here. And this is, again, going on only 60 hours. And we got several more days or chances of opportunities rains in this part of the country. So flooding conditions a problem for the middle of the nation here. Missouri showing 3.5 inches. And then obviously we got this little hot spot down here across areas of the south. Obviously the tropical influence here. So you're showing 6+ inches across the Florida Panhandle, 3.5 inches in South Georgia, even getting upwards of 2.5 inches there to northeast Georgia. So this is all that tropical low, that moisture coming in out of the Gulf that's going to enhance that rain threat there over the next couple of days. And that wet and rainy pattern is going to continue in the southeast, really going into the weekend as well. Now, as far as our temperatures are concerned, of course, got all that rain in the middle of the country. This is really keeping the temperatures down here, only seeing highs mostly in the 50s because of the rainy weather there. It is going to be hot down toward Texas, so we got temperatures there in that purple. You know, we got temperatures there above 90 degrees. We got some pockets of 90 degrees out here into the southwest as well. Interesting story. We had rain in Phoenix on June 1st. I saw a stat on this. That was the first time it rained in the month of June, or June 1st, in like 114 years. So just very unusual to see that rain that came in there the other day with that upper level low, as well as that tropical moisture that was left over from Alvin. All right, so let's go ahead and look at your overnight lows here for tonight, going into tomorrow morning, and going in towards 7 again. You can see where that cold front is. Look at the cool spot here, big part of the upper plains here in the 40s, 47. That's pretty good by June standards. We'll take that. 51 down into Kansas. So again, you can see where that cool air is setting up here. Nice warm up here across the east, obviously, as we get the warmer southern air coming in ahead of that cold front there. So a little warm here in the east. Take this out a little bit further, going out toward Wednesday afternoon's highs. Again, you kind of see nice, not bad here behind that front. Temperatures here in the 70s across Texas at 75. I mean, that's not bad. We'll take that for sure in June. A little bit warmer up here in the northeast. We've seen 80-degree temperatures after, the past weekend when they had temperatures in the 40s. So Going to see that going on here for your Wednesday. Let's go into your Thursday morning. And take us out to Thursday morning one more time here, 7 morning. Start to see some of that green start to retreat. So not as much, starts to kind of modify a little bit. And it's definitely milder in the Northeast and the upper 60s, 70s for a lot of the deep South. All right, so let's look at your European model again. I got this kind of looping on through here to kind of show you. We got the big storm system kicking out of the east. You got another one in the west. It just kind of stays there. But the overall trend here in the long range is showing that a lot of orange in here. So we're going to have to watch this closely to see if this becomes a bit of a forecast trend. If it does take shape, I expect drier and warmer conditions, say beyond the 10-day forecast, if this is holding true. But again, you look for forecast modeling trends as we go through time. Now, one thing that looks very traditional is that we got an active storm track here across the northern tier. It's typical for June. You get the little drop down here. You got another one here coming across the northwest and kind of shooting back up. That's very typical for June. But if we do get this ridging to take place here in the middle of the country, things could begin to heat up here as we head toward the middle of the month or just beyond the 10 to 14 day window. So let's go ahead and look at the European model here. Again, we got a couple days of some stormy weather here in the middle of the country. Obviously, this is going into tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning. You see it's kind of trekking on there, moving on toward the east here, go out today on Wednesday. So we'll have the pockets of severe there. And then it lights up again going in toward Thursday. Remember, we got that severe weather there going into Thursday and Thursday night. You see a little pocket there going into late Thursday. So we could see some active weather here as well. Here's that low pressure system here. We got to watch here potentially. Could become a tropical depression or hybrid low. Shouldn't be a big deal, though. It's going to kick on out to sea. That's what the European is kind of hinting at right now going in toward Friday. And then this moves on out. And then pretty much going into this weekend, we got these little weaknesses. And they'll change from day to day. Again, forecasting this time of year, it'll change. It'll fluctuate a lot, especially since you're not dealing with a big, synoptic pattern. You're dealing with mesoscale, old outflow boundaries from thunderstorms and little weak disturbances that'll flare up and change from day to day. And that's what this is kind of showing here. Again, some pretty wet weather here, a couple disturbances sliding into the southeast. So it looks like Saturday and Sunday is looking wet for Alabama and Georgia, for example. And then going in toward next week, going in for the next 7 days, again, you kind of see some active weather there along the Texas Gulf Coast and down across the southeast. A little bit of rains across the Great Lakes and some little rains out there into the Intermountain region. So again, this will fluctuate from day to day, and thus those severe weather outlooks will also change from day to day. It's just that time of year, folks. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. We'll look at your precipitation outlook here. Again, for the next 7 days, looking very wet here across the middle of the country. And this could be a little bit underdone. It could be individual totals up to 5 to 7 inches of rain. But looking at very high rain totals here across the middle of the country. Thus, those flash flood watches there. We got some heavier rains across Florida into Georgia as well. So you got to watch that tropical influence there. This also may be a little underdone depending on the speed and how quickly that tropical moisture goes. They typically underestimate tropical moisture to begin with. And I think we may see that across Georgia and Florida as well as we go into this upcoming weekend. So let's go ahead and look at your climate outlook here. Again, still showing that bullseye cool zone there, probably most likely because of precipitation. But things, boy, looking pretty hot and kind of got hot out there toward the west as we're seeing above normal temperatures out here, very warm, probably running some 10 to 15 degrees above normal, while here you're probably looking at temperatures roughly about 5 degrees below normal there in the middle of the country. And this is for your 8th through the 12th. Now, as far as going beyond that, let me go in my interactive mode here. Forgot to kick that up for you real quick. As we go to the 814, that starts to modify a little bit, getting more normal there. And you're seeing more and more of the nation looking at above normal temperatures. And based off what I'm seeing with that long range model I showed you there, that ridging taking place, as we head toward the middle of the month, we could see an outbreak of maybe some very, very warm weather taking place if that forecast trend holds. So it'll be interesting to see what the new update here on this map looks like as we go into later this afternoon. Now, precipitation-wise, it does keep us above normal with the precipitation for a lot of the country, except for areas there in the northwest, still looking at below normal there. This is, of course, going from the 8th to the 12th, so still indications of an active pattern there. And it still looks wet here on days 8 through 14. This is also another one that may change a little bit. Again, if the forecast trending with that ridging I showed you there on the European continues to be a trend, that may back off the thunderstorm threat, because typically when you get that kind of ridging, the heat goes up and the precipitation chances go down. So we'll have to watch that closely as we head toward the middle of June. All right, that's y'all's update for today. Again, appreciate you guys checking out your daily update here. Again, please share this with your family and friends. Anybody might be interested in getting the weather on a regular basis and not be sold a bunch of bull hockey and be scared to death. We don't do that here. We like to keep you prepared and not scared on this channel. So if you would like to subscribe to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. If you have any weather-related questions, as always, please post it down below. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. All right, that's y'all's update here for your Tuesday. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. You guys have a great and safe day. Bye-bye.